Eicher Motors, owners of premium biking brand Royal Enfield, have suffered 3 consecutive days of declining share prices at over 8%. This has wiped off more than 10,000 crores of market capitalization. This is because competitors Bajaj Auto and MotoCorp have entered the premium bike segment with some really high name partners. This has led to a lot of concern among investors, but our market expert Mr. Dipan Mehta thinks differently. First, let's understand the situation. Royal Enfield's three most important brands are the Classic 350, the Hunter 350 and the Bullet 350, all priced between 1.6 lakhs to 2.2 lakhs. MotoCorp has partnered with Harley-Davidson to produce the HD X440 priced at 2.25 lakhs, and Bajaj Auto has partnered with UK-based premium biking brand Triumph to produce two new bikes priced at 2.25 lakhs. During the launch, Managing Director of Bajaj Auto, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj said that if Royal Enfield is where the money is, then it's time to rob the bank. And all of this has created a lot of concern among investors that Royal Enfield may lose market share. But according to our expert Mr. Dipan Mehta, although Royal Enfield may lose market share, absolute volumes will continue to grow up. We had an extended conversation with him about this subject in our recent podcast. Please do check it out. So, this is a really great segue. And let's talk about, one of the winners of this premiumization trend, a stock that I know you love.
Oh, yes.
Eicher Motors. So, I'm just going to let you tell me the story of Eicher Motors for a minute, because I know you love to tell that story.
Yeah, I know. See, Eicher Motors is a very interesting story. And it was basically Eicher Motors. A lot of investors like us bought into Eicher Motors 10 years ago because they had a joint venture with Volvo. And the trucks that they produced were superb. And for a while, all of us thought that these trucks would give Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland a run for their money. And of course, I think while that joint venture has flourished and has done well, but mind you, the biggest surprise has been Royal Enfield. That's a company which they took over. And at that point of time, it was a floundering venture. It had been around for decades. I think Royal Enfield and Bullet have been, I would say, pre-independence.
Pre-independence,
yes.
yeah.
And they had their very solid but small community of bikers who loved this particular bike. And, the whole thing started that they started to look at this company and this opportunity as far as Bullet was concerned. They beefed up the quality of the product. They increased the production volumes and some slick marketing. And the market also was ripe for them. People were just fed up about the same old commuter bikes. End of the day, when you looked at a Bajaj, a TVS or Hero MotoCorp, there was not much product differentiation. But then this Bullet came, with its 350 degrees or 350cc engine sizes and lovely looking bikes, beautiful colors, and it just appealed to the consumer who was looking for a premium product.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to know, right? Like, so your Heroes and Bajaj, they were trying to stick at the low end of the price spectrum. And then, above them, you get entry-level four-wheelers. But I think Eicher Motor, Royal Enfield in particular, is the only one that's positioned between the entry-level bike and the entry-level four-wheeler.
Absolutely.
So anyone who's looking to buy a bike but can't afford a four-wheeler but still wants something nice, I don't think there are very many options other than a Royal Enfield, and it's a good option to have.
I think Royal Enfield took a lot of inspiration from Harley-Davidson. They thought that owning a Royal Enfield bike was like owning a Harley-Davidson bike. It was a statement that you had arrived. And see, two-wheelers are never going to go out of fashion. In fact, there's this thing that every household may have a four-wheeler, but they still have a two-wheeler for shorter routes, for whatever, convenience as well. And they appeal to the youth in the typical 25 to 35-year-old. And they thought that this market required a premium product. And they spent a lot of money on marketing. They did so many rallies which went all the way to Himalayas to showcase that how good their product was. And on the whole, I think it worked out very well. This is one company which has amazed me because they have found a market, and the kind of growth rates which they got at one point of time, they were selling 10% of the industry, but their market cap was the highest amongst all put together. So it has been a great wealth creator, and kudos to the management. And they've kind of tried to build a whole lifestyle around Bullet by...
So one thing that I don't think we can ignore in building the biker lifestyle is roadies.
That's right.
Roadies, I think roadies has contributed to the success of Eicher Motors in a disproportionate manner, if anything.
That's right. And they had good pricing power, best in class net profit margins, superb return ratios, long waiting lists for many years. In fact, I remember at the analyst conferences, the only thing the analysts were interested in is how fast is your capacity increasing, boss? I mean, they went from less than 1,100,000 to 800,000, and we were all clamoring that do more, make, because there were huge waiting lists for their products. And mind you, see, they've invested a lot in product design, they've invested a lot in quality and in systems, and their entire product range is very exciting, not only present but in the future as well. They've experimented with 650cc also, 350cc. So across the board, when it came to premium bikes, they were the absolute market leader. And Varun, one more thing, it's not that others have not tried, Bajaj Auto, Hero, they all had joint ventures or did something or the other to try and get into this market, but they could not, take any market share.
It's that brand image, right? If you want to own a premium bike, you want to own a Bullet. Absolutely. Nothing else will do.
And the last few 2-3 years, they have expanded that distribution phenomenally. They've got into studios in the small tier 2, tier 3 towns as well, and that's also driving growth for them. So of all the stocks, I think they're going to be least disrupted by EV because it's a leisure bike. And just this whole premiumization trend, I think, should make sure that their growth rates are higher than the rest of the industry.
So let's maybe just give the viewers a bit of a profile on Eicher Motors figures. As opposed to Bajaj or Hero that have shrunk their overall sales, and in Hero's case, their profit has fallen over the last 5 years. Eicher Motors' revenue has grown at 8.07% over the last 5 years compounded, and their profits grown at about 5.75% again last 5 years compounded. And few interesting sub-facts here is although their domestic sales have stayed flat to slightly shrunk at about 1.8%, their exports as well have grown by 36% compounded over the last 5 years. So they're also benefiting from this export trend.
Sure. But you go to beyond 5 years ago, means last 15 years, they've been amongst the most outstanding wealth creator.
Yeah. So one thing that I really wanted to highlight is over the last 17 years, the stock price has compounded at 35%.
Yes.
And it's up 15x.
Yes. I'm not surprised by that. I think it's been a fabulous story. And clearly, I think we bought for Volvo, but we got Royal Enfield as a bonus, and that's what has been driving the values for Eicher Motors.
Yeah, and I think like you said as well, leisure biking, premium biking is a lot less likely to be disrupted by EVs, because for leisure bikers, they want the sound, they want the range, they want the power.
Yes, they want the power.
Yeah, which you can't necessarily get with EVs, especially not right now.
Absolutely. So I think it's been a winner. It may remain to be a winner within the sector, and they have a massive export market which they haven't even scratched.
Most analysts have given Eicher Motors a buy recommendation, and I gather that you concur and you agree with that.
I have a positive view on the stock, but as I said, I think it's a longer term view.
Of course.
And there could be volatility in earnings. Investors need to keep that in mind.